Hey y'all, I want to talk about the Organization of the World Oil Market. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries is a permanent intergovernmental organization created at the Baghdad Conference in 1960 by Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. OPEC's objective is to coordinate and unify petroleum policies among member countries in order to secure fair and stable prices for petroleum producers, an efficient, economic, and regular supply of petroleum to consuming nations, and a fair return on capital to those investing in the industry. OPEC's members change frequently. Let's look at 1960. OPEC developed its collective vision, set up its objectives, and established its secretariat. First in Geneva and then in 1965 in Vienna. It adopted a declaratory statement of petroleum policy in member countries in 1968, which emphasized the unalienable right of all countries to exercise permanent sovereignty over their natural resources in the interest of their national development. Membership grew to 10 by 1969. And now let's look at 1970s. The decade witnessed several impactful events that caused volatility in the global oil market to rise steeply. Look at this. So this blue line represents the price relative to the 2016 dollar. This means it takes inflation into account, and we can see real change. OPEC broadened its mandate with the first summit of heads of state and government in Algiers in 1975, which addressed the plight of the poorer nations and called for a new era of cooperation in international relations, in the interests of world economic development and stability. This led to the establishment of the OPEC Fund for International Development in 1976. Now let's talk about 1980s. Demand for energy slumped and oil demand fell in the early part of 1980s, culminating in a market crash in 1986 in response to the oil glut and a consumer shift away from hydrocarbons. OPEC's share of the smaller oil market fell heavily and its total petroleum revenue dropped, causing economic instability in many member countries. In the final part of the decade, the oil market witnessed something of a recovery, and OPEC's share of newly growing world output began to recover. 1990. Timely OPEC action reduced the market impact of Middle East issues in 1990-91, but excessive volatility dominated the decade. The Southeast Asian economic downturn and mild Northern Hemisphere winter of 1998-99 saw the oil market return to mid-1980 conditions. However, a solid recovery followed, and the oil market, which was adjusting to the post-Soviet world, became more integrated with a focus on globalization, the communications revolution, and other high-tech trends. Now look at 2000s. OPEC continued with its efforts to help strengthen and stabilize the global oil market in the early years of the decade. But a combination of market forces, speculation, and other factors transformed the situation in 2004, pushing up volatility in a well-supplied crude market. Oil was used increasingly as an asset class. Market volatility continued to increase in an unprecedented manner in early 2008, before the collapse of the global financial sector that led to economic recession. OPEC became prominent in supporting the oil sector as part of global efforts to address the economic crisis. And now let's talk about 2010s. The global economy represented the main risk to the oil market early in the decade, as global macroeconomic uncertainties and heightened risks surrounding the international financial system weighed on economies. Escalating social unrest in many parts of the world affected both supply and demand throughout the first half of the decade, although the market remained relatively balanced. The oil market was stable between 2011 and mid 2014 before a combination of speculation and oversupply caused it to contract. Trade patterns then continued to shift, with global oil demand growing, particularly in the Asian region. Look at 2020s. The new decade witnessed an unprecedented beginning with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, pervading almost every aspect of daily lives. The pandemic had a detrimental impact on both the world economy and the energy sector, pressuring nations to take necessary, firm measures to slow the spread of the virus and counter its effects. The oil market saw demand in free fall, global storage filling quickly, and large scale volatility. This propelled OPEC and its partners in the declaration of cooperation to intensify their collaborative efforts to restore much needed stability, resulting in the largest and longest voluntary production adjustments in the oil market's history. The importance of these efforts was recognized by numerous countries and organizations, including energy ministers, Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Colombia, Norway, the African Petroleum Producers Organization, the International Energy Agency, the International Energy Forum, and many independent producers. So, OPEC turned 60 in September, marking a significant milestone on the organization's historic journey. So you can look at their official website. There are a lot of interesting news about the oil market and not only. Actually, I have decided to talk about OPEC because of very big influence on the current situation in the world. So I think it's very interesting. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.